Tonight on SpeedWeek, the luck of the Irish is smiling on this man, and this man. But this guy should have kissed the Blarney Stone. And Irish eyes are smiling on this man. Green snow, green cars, green flags, green beer. We've got it all next on SpeedWeek. Hi, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day and welcome to SpeedWeek. I'm Bob Jenkins. Well, there have been major motorsport stories breaking throughout the week, and we begin with good news. 7 months ago, Ernie Irvan was given less than a 10% chance of surviving a practice crash at Michigan International Speedway. On Tuesday of this week, Ernie took a big step forward in resuming his racing career. And joining us now is my NASCAR broadcast partner, Benny Parsons, who is with Ernie Irvan. Benny?
Thanks, Bob. I'm here at Ernie Irvan's Super Truck Shop with the top newsmaker of the week. Ernie, why did you decide now was the time to get back in a car, and why a tough racetrack like Darlington?
I tell you, Benny, you know, it's actually in December I thought I needed to start getting back in a car, but it just accumulated on and on and on, and I figure, man, I've got to do it, and you know, real glad I did it. And Darlington is one of the places that me and Larry had talked in December. Says, what's the toughest place to run? And I said, Darlington. He goes, well, I think you ought to do it at Darlington. He says, because that's going to tell you how good you are. And I was real glad I did because, you know, I think I've got a lot of respect for Darlington, and I was really happy to do it there.
Suiting up, crawling through the window, putting that helmet on, getting ready to go back on the racetrack.
Well, it was real exciting, but, you know, me, I kind of keep my emotions to myself, and it was all a day of business, you know, because this is the future of Ernie Irvan, and I needed to go there and treat it just like it was another race and make sure that I answered a lot of the questions I needed to answer, and I had to be ready to do business when I got there to the racetrack, and I feel like things went good.
The rumors or the word on the street, you set a run under the track record, ran as fast as the track record for the Busch cars at Darlington. Is that true? And how many laps did you get in?
Well, I actually read the paper the other day, and somebody had said we had ran 28 laps. And actually, I run like a 30 flat, and I think that's about a half a second faster than the track record. But you got to remember, it's repaved, too. So I'd like to be able to say that I just broke the track record by a half a second, but obviously the track record is going to be broke again when somebody comes back down there to test. But we felt real good about it. You know, the speeds were competitive, and, you know, the biggest thing was to answer my big question, if I could actually maneuver around the racetrack with one eye and see what I could do. Now the next question is just doing some stuff in some traffic.
Like what? How you going to do that?
Well, actually, another week or so, we're going to take the super trucks up to Wilkesboro and do some testing and do some stuff. Me drafting or actually passing Joe and Joe passing me, and see how I can do with that as far as being able to judge traffic and stuff.
Ernie, I tell you, when I heard that you were back in a car at Darlington, it was one of probably the best news I've had in a long, long time, and I wish you well, and I know all the fans wish you well as well.
Well, I tell you, you know, all the support from the fans has been phenomenal, and that's what's made it where I could actually come back racing. And, you know, the big thing is to be able to suit up and line up for a Winston Cup race someday in the future, and that's going to be the happiest moment in my life.
And mine. Bob, we'll be seeing you in Darlington.
Thank you, Benny. A truly remarkable comeback so far for Ernie Irvan. And there's more good news from Winston Cup. Chuck Bound will return to the cockpit next weekend, the Trans-South Financial 400 at Darlington. Bound was injured last June at Pocono, suffering injuries that resulted in temporary vision problems. He has received a clean bill of health and will replace interim driver Jimmy Hensley in the active trucking Chevrolet. This week, he ran over 200 laps at Bristol in preparation for his return.
It seems to me like an eternity waiting for the vision problem to heal up. But, you know, I tried a car about a month ago at Richmond just for about a dozen laps, and I could see very well. I was really excited about it, so we scheduled a date here at Bristol because I think this track puts more demand on eyesight than any track on the whole Winston Cup circuit. And so far, it's going really good. It's feeling great to get back in a Winston Cup car, and hopefully we'll be running here right after this.
Well, the Winston Cup Series takes a weekend off after 4 straight races, most recently the Purolator 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And already this season, we have a repeat winner. Under sunny skies and temperatures in the 70s, pole sitter Dale Earnhardt led the 42-car field to the green, but right away, trouble in the back of the pack as Mike Wallace was bumped by Jeff Burton, sending the Heilig-Myers Ford across the track and into the retaining wall just before the start-finish line. The rookie woes of Steve Kinzer continue. After just 6 laps under green, Kinzer was tapped by Brett Bodine, sending the Quaker State Ford hard into the wall, ending his day in 41st. Earnhardt's event-setting qualifying record, coupled with an early lead, looked threatening, but only until the DuPont Chevrolet of Jeff Gordon began its challenge, this time trying to take Dale high in turn 1. Outside front row starter Bobby Labonte played mouse with these 2 cats and grabbed the lead while going low. The hard-charging Gordon finally got up front on lap 71 and maintained a blistering pace that saw many good cars fall a lap down under green flag pit stops. Gordon's lead stretched to over 17 seconds, but was wiped out when Ken Schrader hit the turn 1 wall with 27 laps to go. The brothers Labonte and Earnhardt were the only cars left on the lead lap. Bobby got to within 2 car lengths of the win. Terry got a 3rd place to go along with his Richmond win. And Dale racked up his worst finish so far in 1995, a 4th. The car that carried him to victory in Rockingham repeats in Atlanta for Jeff Gordon. He led 250 of the 328 laps and gave owner Rick Hendrick the team's 3rd consecutive victory. Gordon's crew chief Ray Evernham took the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race honors at Atlanta. That team has moved into 6th place in the standings and trails leader Dale Earnhardt by 153 points. Heavy rains in California have wreaked havoc on the land and many racing events, including what was to be a big weekend for the NASCAR Super Trucks and the SCCA Trans Am Series. Bob Kelly is in Sonoma with an update.
Bob, don't let this bright blue California sunshine fool you. The track may look okay, but it's the areas surrounding the Sears Point Raceway that are an absolute mess right now. And that's why they've had to postpone both the NASCAR Super Trucks and the SCCA Trans Am events this coming weekend.
I think anyone who's followed what's happened with the weather in Northern California and actually all over California in the last week or so, it's been we've really been pounded out here with some pretty serious storms, and we've had troubles off and on with the racing surface itself and some mudslides that have covered the track. More importantly, we've got all of the areas around the track that we use for parking, that a lot of them are underwater or under mudslides, and a lot of the access roads that we need to get fans in and out of the facility simply aren't usable.
Just how bad is it? This lake is supposed to be a parking lot, a lot that should hold about 10,000 cars.
We've got mudslides all over the property, and there is a forecast for additional rain this weekend, and even if that weren't the case, the cleanup that has to happen around here to get this place back in shape for an event is fairly monumental, and it's not something that could happen in the next couple of days.
This was supposed to be the opener of the 1995 Trans Am season, but instead it will be the last race on the 1995 card. Sears Point will host both the SCCA Trans Am and NASCAR Super Truck events, rescheduled now for Saturday, October 7th. And that's the story from here at Sears Point.
Thanks, Bob. Stay tuned for more Speed Week. My Great Alaskan Adventure is coming up. For the 10th time, a Chevrolet will pace the field for the 79th running of the Indianapolis 500. This year, it will be the definitive American sports car, the Corvette. This week, the Speed Week staff, along with other motorsports media, got a chance to take it for a test drive around the oval with the radar speed trap on, mind you. What a way to spend an unusually warm March afternoon. In fact, our own Dave Calabro got a little carried away.
That's the fastest car I've ever been in. As I told these guys, Al Unser Jr. came right up alongside of me, and I just blew his doors off.
Yeah, sure, Dave. I did the same thing. Passed him like he was standing still. Well, last week marked the one-year anniversary of Tony George's creation of the Indy Racing League. With a season-opening race in Disney World set for January of next year and live ABC TV coverage guaranteed to the series, the next anticipated move was the implementation of the new rules package for the series. But the IRL has decided to wait. What does all this mean? Well, Rick DeBrule has more.
Well, Bob, the announcement was made by Tony George, IRL Executive Director Jack Long, and USAC President Dick King. Now, we had expected to hear specifications that would not only decrease the speeds, but also decrease the cost of what's going to be a primarily oval-oriented IndyCar racing series. Well, yesterday, here in Phoenix at his winter home, I had a chance to talk with Jack Long about what happened.
It came down to a couple of issues. Number one, it was clear that there was going to be a timing problem of getting the new cars and engines designed, developed, built, and delivered in time to start the season on schedule. That made it a pretty important opportunity, is the way I'd like to say it, to change it, because I definitely didn't want to start the season with the old rules and the old equipment and then try to do at some point in the middle of it make a change. The other issue that really I think is more important is the fact that I felt that the issue of the rules was becoming politicized. And I don't think that's a good idea. When you start talking about safety and the things that control costs and what makes the car safe for the people, I really don't think that should be a political issue.
Some have speculated that this really isn't a very positive sign, that this is a sign of weakening within the Indy Racing League. Is that true?
There will be an Indy Racing League season that starts in 1996. It will be hopefully part of a unified championship that is designed to stabilize IndyCar racing. And I think it will be. But we may as well deal with it. Indy Racing League is going to be here.
What's next?
Well, I think the biggest job I have right now that the rule issue has been decided, is to start telling our story. We really need to get it out now. It's all there. The plans are just about completed. In the coming weeks, we'll be dealing with issues like what the schedule is going to look like. We're going to deal with what the new promoter program is with the IRL, how it differs with what they're currently doing. We're trying to improve everything that we can. We're trying to come up with a program that develops some entry-level interest of new race teams, whether it's a developmental series that is tied to our project, or whether we try to find new methods of getting people involved right at the top level. And that's what I'm going to be focused on. That's what you're going to be hearing about.
1990 Indianapolis 500 winner Arie Luyendyk, who found himself out of a ride when he and Indy Regency Racing parted company earlier this year, has signed on with John Menard to run this year's 500. Luyendyk and teammate Scott Brayton officially entered today and will have 95 Lolas with Menard V6 power. We now head south to Texas, where the NHRA was back at Houston Raceway Park after being rained out 2 weeks ago. In qualifying, Warren Johnson set a new Pro Stock National ET record of 6.948 and a new speed mark of 199.15. But ultimately, Johnson lost in Sunday's second round to Larry Morgan. Dave McClellan picks up the Houston highlights from there.
Thanks, Bob. On Saturday, a scary moment occurred when top alcohol dragster driver Jay Meyer of Freeport, Texas, lost control of his dragster and slid along the guardrail through the shutdown area. He was able to extricate himself from the car, but was taken to a Houston hospital for overnight observation. He was released on Sunday. Sunday's Pro Stock final round was the closest racing. Scott Jeffreyon in the near lane earned his first victory of the season by first getting the whole shot on Jim Yates. Then his Mopar Dodge Avenger held off Yates with an elapsed time of 7.06 seconds at a speed of over 196 miles an hour. Jeffreyon gets career win number 8, but still finds himself in second place behind teammate Darrell Alderman in the points. In Funny Car Eliminator, defending Slick 50 champion Al Hoffman met up with number 1 qualifier Mark Oswald. Hoffman's Western Auto Firebird pulled a stronger reaction time, and by half track had an advantage Oswald could not overcome. Hoffman's happy crew helped him celebrate career victory number 7 and a steady climb from third to now the Winston points lead. In Top Fuel, both Kenny Bernstein and Mike Dunn made their first final round appearances of the year. Bernstein's Budweiser King got the whole shot, but just past the Christmas tree, KB lit up the tires and Dunn was home free. For the record, the La Victoria Salsa driver gets his first win since Dallas in 1993 and his third overall in Top Fuel.
It's been a long time. This one feels really, really great. To do it here, you know, we won once here in Funny Car, now in Top Fuel, and we've been able to do that 3 different tracks, and I'm starting to enjoy that. We need to start doing that more often.
With the win comes first place in the points. For SpeedWeek, I'm Dave McClellan.
Welcome back. Dave Calabro has gotten over the thrill of thinking he can outrun Little Al at the Speedway and joins us now in the SpeedWeek newsroom with the latest news and qualifying. Dave?
Yes, Bob, we are psyched for May. Our top story broke today when McLaren announced that the return of Nigel Mansell has been put on hold for 2 races. Now, Mansell has complained of discomfort in his new car that was designed before he signed on. Then he had the test crash in Estoril. Now they're building a new chassis for Nigel, but they simply can't have it ready for the first race, which is the season opener in Brazil next weekend. Mark Blundell will temporarily fill the cockpit.
Now, on to qualifying. Down under where IndyCar in Australia is underway. Michael Andretti holds the provisional pole, followed by rookie Gilles de Ferran. Our pit notes tell us several drivers, including Christian Fittipaldi, Adrian Fernandez, Raul Boesel, and Robbie Gordon, did some damage during their qualifying sessions. A Ferrari and an Old Spice make up the front row for Saturday's IMSA 12 Hours of Sebring. Michele Alboreto gets the honors of setting the fast lap for his team. That includes Mauro Baldi and Eric Van der Poel. And for the second event in a row, the NHRA Mac Tools Nationals have been postponed due to inclement weather. Blaine Johnson, John Force, and Warren Johnson will return as the top qualifiers on March 30th. Darrell Waltrip gets the pole for the Music City 320 Busch Grand National race in Nashville. Defending champion David Green will start from 5th.
And the World of Outlaws race, which was scheduled for Wednesday at the Pike County Speedway in Magnolia, Mississippi, fell victim to rain. We'll let you know when it's been rescheduled. That's it from here. I'm Dave Calabro. Bob Jenkins will be back with more Speed Week right after this.
I get a travel budget that all my people have to subscribe to, something we try to strive to do.
Continental, big airline, little prices. One more way we're giving you more airline for your money.
There was some West Coast racing that made it in last weekend, and Gary Lee is up next to take us short tracking.
Northern California's heavy rains forced postponement of NARC's season-opening Mini Gold Cup Friday and Saturday night at Silver Dollar Speedway. When action got underway Sunday afternoon, Blue regular Dave Blaney in blue set on the pole and held the lead until Paul McMahon got by on lap 5. But the Buckeye Bullet battled back, sending the two side-by-side down the backstretch, with McMahon taking advantage in turn 3. McMahon had a great view of the wildest ride of the day when Danny Burton completed the series of endos down the backstretch. Burton walked away uninjured. McMahon seemed in control until a jammed throttle caused this huge wheelie down the backstretch. Both Blaney and Steve Kent were able to get by. McMahon dropped out 2 laps later. Blaney held the top spot until lap 35 of the 40-lap feature when he got too high in turn 3, bicycled, and allowed Kent to take over the lead. Blaney took one last shot coming down for the white flag, but couldn't hold the car down and almost got into the leader. With second place apparently locked up, Blaney hit the back of Bob Walker's lap car, allowing Leland McSpadden to take second place. But the day belonged to Kent, who pocketed the $6,000 top prize. For Speed Week, I'm Gary Lee.
All right, thanks, Gary. Now here's a look at the CarQuest racing calendar with events coming up. For all your auto parts needs, you'll find it at CarQuest. In 1925, Nome, Alaska was in the midst of a diphtheria epidemic. The only serum was in Anchorage, and so 20 mushers and their dogs relayed 300,000 units of the antitoxin to the remote Alaskan city. That act provided the inspiration for what is now known as the last great race, the Iditarod, now in its 23rd year. I had the unique opportunity to travel to Anchorage and witness the ceremonial start of the event. The first stop after arriving in Alaska was the Aurora Sled Dog Trails north of Anchorage. my chance to meet some of the dogs close up and to find out exactly how much work is involved in mushing. One of the first things I learned was when the dogs get their harnesses on, they are ready to go. And so was I. My first ride in a dog sled and my first chance to shoot some onboard video and give you a chance to see what the view is behind a team of Huskies. What's the old saying, unless you're the lead dog, the view never changes? Well, the second day, we visited the home and kennels of the two-time and defending Iditarod champion Martin Booser, who is very much an auto racing fan. This is Martin with his lead dog, D2. Mostly an Alaskan Husky, D2 also has some Greyhound blood to provide speed as well as strength and endurance. It's hard to believe that this 5-week-old may someday grow up to have the strength, speed, and personality that are necessary to be a leader. The idea of the Anchorage to Nome race in 1973 was that of Joe Reddington, here with his lead dog Luna, which competed in the race 10 times. Joe is such a hero in Alaska, they're making a doll in his likeness. Saturday was race day. In the early morning hours, the city begins to move in truckloads of snow, which they earlier cleared. All of this so that 58 teams of 16 dogs and 1 musher can begin their long journey in front of hundreds of people in Alaska's largest city. Governor Tony Knowles presided at the ribbon-cutting ceremonies that officially got the race underway. The dogs' health and safety on the long journey is of utmost importance. This year, every dog was weighed before the start and will be monitored along the way. And nearly all the animals wear booties to protect their paws from the rough Alaskan terrain. Teams are sent off in 2-minute intervals to the first checkpoint about 10 miles up the road in Eagle River. The journey to Eagle River for the mushers is a relatively easy one. Nothing like the 60 below zero temperatures and life-threatening storms they're likely to encounter before reaching Nome. Our journey by car to Eagle River produced a moose sighting. Something you don't see every day in Indiana. Trust me, that is a moose. One of the mushers I found out used to live just down the road from where I now live in central Indiana. Wayne Curtis has been waiting 10 years to participate with his purebred Siberian Huskies. The existence of the race is threatened by charges of cruelty to animals, but one of the things I was most impressed with is the incredible relationship between the musher and his dogs. They literally rely on each other for survival. Unfortunately, it was time to think about heading home, but the participants in the Iditarod were just getting started on their 1,100-mile journey that would take around 8 days to reach Nome. In fact, it took 9 days, 2 hours, and 42 minutes for Doug Swingley to arrive at the Front Street finish line in downtown Nome, breaking the record by more than 24 hours. Doug, who hails from Montana, is a unique winner in that he was the first non-Alaskan resident to win the event. What a great adventure. My hat is off to these remarkable competitors and their mushers. We are all out of time. We'll see you next Friday night at 3:30 a.m. Eastern, and beginning Friday night the 31st, we will resume our 12:30 nighttime slot. We leave you with more from Alaska, this time the Arctic Circle Challenge. So long, everyone.